Hey there, fictional friends, and welcome to another episode of Fully Booked. I'm Megan.
And I'm Sherine.
And we are jumping into February. Oh, it's February. Oh, we skipped last week. It's February, everyone.
February! Because Megan left me here in this Arctic
tundra that we're living in.
tundra that we live in, and she jetted off to Mexico.
Sorry. Yes, I've been on a surprisingly cold beach for the last week. So don't freak out too much, everyone. All the stuff that you're seeing online of like, wow, Mexico's really cold right now. I'm like, oh yeah, it's not warm. So
yeah, it makes me feel a little better.
Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. I shouldn't be complaining. I was still wearing like flip-flops and stuff. So,
oh, flip-flops. What are flip-flops? It snowed so much this year.
Yeah. But one of the things that I did do while I was on vacation is I watched the first drop of the Bridgerton episode.
Yay! I must confess, I watched them twice.
Oh, yeah, that's okay. That's fine. You had time. You had a whole week.
I did. And I really enjoyed them.
I know. Yeah, everybody's giving them a lot of shit. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, I don't care.
No, I think I've stopped paying attention. And I'm just like, I'm just going to, if I like the season, I like it. If I don't like certain things, I don't like certain things. And that's about it for me.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of the time we always get, not us particularly, but I think like collectively we get way too influenced by like the noise online, and a lot of the time it's just headlines that are just like clickbait.
Yes.
And so if you actually delve into the article itself, it's not actually the context in which the headline is taken. So I take everything with a grain of salt and I focus on what I enjoy.
I agree with you. I think that's probably a really wise way to do that. So we are going to be chatting through the first 4 episodes, the first drop of episodes that premiered on January 29th. The second half of the season will be dropping on Netflix on February 26th, what I have seen. Yeah, I know. Yes. Oh, that leads me into my fun little segue, which is that since Arthur and I were on vacation together, we watched the episodes together. This was his first time ever watching any Bridgerton at all. Like, I think I've had it on before and he's been like around, but not really actively paying attention. And I'm very happy to say that he got really into it. He really
lucky you. I try and get my husband into it and he's just like, nah.
He really liked it. We finished the 4th episode and he was like, that's it.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
Well, when's the second part coming out? I look up the second part. I'm like, February 26th. He's like, that's so long.
I know.
So now I've officially roped him into doing a full rewatch of seasons 1 through 3. And maybe I can get Queen Charlotte just squeezed in there as well.
Queen Charlotte's my favorite season.
It's really good. It's very good. I know we've talked about that before too, but it's really good. I like it.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're gonna be kind of talking through a little bit of like the sort of book versus these first 4 episodes that we've seen to a degree without getting too far into what's going to happen in the second half of the season. So I'm just going to put a blanket spoiler warning over everything before we get into it. We will be probably talking about some character, plot beats, all that jazz as we do. So here's your official spoiler warning for that.
Spoilers. Memer.
Oh my god.
Oh, is that my official spoiler noise now?
That's going to be yours, even though I have one that I always insert into the
do you? It's true, you do.
I've got the little spoiler warning in there. Oh god, Sherine. It's okay. I'm leaving this in. Too bad. Okay. Oh, Lord. It's been a while since we've recorded, guys.
It's also been a while since I've seen Megan. So like you're getting like a mix of like us trying to catch up, and
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Thrilled to talk to Megan.
We're a little cuckoo nuts bananas. So I'm hoping that in like the next week we have time to get together. Also, because Wuthering Heights is coming out. So
yeah, we have to go see it.
Yeah, so we're gonna have that all next weekend. Hey, happy Valentine's Day to us. The catch everybody up on everything. Obviously, this is the 4th season of Bridgerton that's just premiered. It is following Benedict Bridgerton's story in the books. Now, keep in mind also, we've already seen some flippy flopping happen in the books to a degree, right? So the order of the books that we've gotten to at this point should technically have gone in the order of the siblings: Daphne, Antony, Benedict, Colin. However, we've had a flip-flop between books 3 and 4. Colin was the third focus of the third season, and Benedict is now the focus of season 4.
Question for you, and I've always
Yes.
wondered this
Yeah.
because, Antony, Benedict, Colin,
Yeah.
Daphne. Is Daphne's the first one in the series?
In the books, yes. Yeah, hers is the only one that's out of order. I guess it's just what Julia Quinn maybe she wasn't expecting this to be like the whole series or something. I'm not entirely sure of that. I'd have to look further into it. However, yeah, I can say that technically The Duke and I, which is Daphne's story with Simon, that is the focus of the first novel as well.
Okay.
And then we get into all of the other, that's in alphabetical order of all of the rest of the siblings after that.
Okay. All right. Thanks for the clarification because
Yeah.
I kind of always assumed that they were all just kind of out of order.
Yeah, no, surprisingly not at all, actually. The majority of them are, except for that one. So, yeah, in this case, though, the show did a little bit of a flippy flop, and I guess they didn't want us. I think it's because the showrunners didn't want to wait too long for Penelope and Colin because they were both characters that had been there as of the first season.
Got
So I
it.
think they wanted to like give audiences. Plus, also, you never know what if you get canceled, right? And you didn't have a chance to go through the whole whistle down of it all.
Oh, it's true. If Whistle Down didn't get to go down.
Ha ha.
Uh,
That was terrible.
that was not even good.
Yeah. So just that's it. So technically, like that is a little bit out of order. It doesn't really change very much in the sense that like also the show is so different in the sense that like you get bits and bobs in the books of the other siblings and their personal lives and all that stuff, the ones who have already had their story. However, it doesn't, the way that the writers have done this in the show, it doesn't really change very much. It's still good to have it. Like the flow I find is still there. So I don't really think it's like made that big of a difference. And, we'll continue to see with the future seasons as well, what they wind up doing too, right? Like we don't know kind of what order things are going to be in. We obviously have a very good idea of seasons 5 and 6 in terms of who they'll focus on, but we don't know in which order they will go.
Yeah, and what I love so much about this show, and we're going off on a tangent a little bit,
Okay.
but like in general, is I just really enjoy that like I don't have to think too hard about like all the characters and like everything going on outside of the ones that are being focused on this season. So
It's
you're not
pretty
kind of like
easy to remember what's going on with people.
exactly, like,
Yeah.
it's kinda like you can just kind of you don't have to do a rewatch of, like, the first 3 seasons, so, like, I go back to, like, something like Stranger Things, for example, where when the 5th season came out, it's like, "Oh boy, I'm, like, completely lost
Yeah,
with
you're
what's
like,
going on,"
"Hang
you
on a
know?
second," and, like,
Yeah,
we all did the Game of Thrones of it all and stuff where you
right.
were like, "Who the fuck was this character who was in, like, 2 scenes last season, and now they're, like, a main focus
Exactly,
of this
and now
season? What is this?"
suddenly they're, like, the main character this season, so, like, that's what I really love about this show is that
Agreed.
it's just like entertainment in its purest form
Yes,
almost, and it's just so pleasant to watch and consume. And then there's also the element of, covering the whole like, inclusion of it all and like, that side which is organically inserted into the show, which
I
I
agree.
really appreciate.
Yeah, and just also very much keep in mind that obviously that is probably one of the bigger deviations from the books. Now, I understand obviously naturally when Julia Quinn wrote these novels, all of the characters are white. Just like keep that in mind.
Yeah.
There are no queer storylines.
Yeah.
All of the characters are straight white people because let's be real, Regency era England would have been mostly straight white people in these particular positions.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, so just like obviously keep that in mind, but they have organically really inserted the idea of any kind of like diversity in terms of obviously race or sexual orientation, all that kind of stuff pretty seamlessly.
Yeah. Oh, they've done
And
a great job.
like exactly to your point in conversations that we've had before where they've added it to the story and had these characters and they've mentioned it and made proper mention of it without like throwing it at you, like you're like, yes, we know, okay, it's
Yeah,
there.
great.
Yeah,
It's
awesome.
like there, it's part of the story, but we're not like being performative about it. It is part of the story. It's moving the story forward. It makes sense, and it adds to the enjoyment and the depth of the show.
Agreed. So yeah, brief overview, especially as to how things start. Yes, obviously if you've watched these first 4 episodes, first of all, if you're here and you haven't, that's weird. Go watch them. But
They came out a week ago,
yeah,
people. There's
you've had
4
time.
episodes. What
Yeah.
else are you doing? Working?
But otherwise, you've had time. I gave the spoiler warning, so if you're here, that's your prerogative. So obviously, if you're drawing parallels between this season and Cinderella, you're not wrong, of
Yeah.
course. Like, obviously,
Oh,
there's a lot
yeah,
of,
like, obviously,
it's
yes.
very, very
I was
clear
quite
that
excited about that, though. I was like, "Oh, yay,
yay! Yeah,
Cinderella."
it's very clearly inspired by it, and I'm about 90% sure that Julia Quinn was inspired by Cinderella just in general as a story when she wrote this one, obviously. So, like, so there's a familiarity to it that's kind of fun that way too, I suppose.
Yeah.
So yeah, this season follows Benedict, who at the Bridgerton families, I should say, but his mom's annual masquerade ball, meets a woman who he does not recognize and has an instant connection to. They have a wonderful, like, little amount of time together, and when midnight hits, like it does in Cinderella, and the demasking at the masquerade is supposed to happen, she takes off in a bit of a panic and leaves behind not a slipper, but a glove.
Yes.
An embroidered glove for him to then try to track her down with. Now, obviously, at the same time, the story that we get at the same time, obviously, we have all of the information. So Sophie is the name of the character, Sophie Beck. I think it's Sophie Thatcher in the books or something, but Sophie Beck is the character who is the love interest that's been introduced this season, played by, I believe her name is Sherine Lee, if I'm not mistaken, the actress. She's great. I think she's so cute.
I even text you that. I'm like, "She is so stinking cute."
She's so funny and, like, awkward, but in a
I
very
love it.
charming way.
I know, like, because I watched it twice, so when I rewatched the first episode, like, her little, like, mannerisms of,
Her
like,
funny
how she's
little
trying to, like, mask how
idiosyncrasies.
awkward she
Yeah.
is, it's so cute, like, her little interaction with I think he's a footman or something, with
Oh,
the
yes.
cards, the
The
dance
dance
cards,
cards.
and she, like, sticks out her arm, and he's like, "Would you like me to attach it for you?" She's like, "Oh, no. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Bye."
Bye. I totally know how this works and what I'm
Yeah, it was so
doing. Yeah,
cute.
she's very funny. So Sophie is working currently as, like, a maid, essentially, for her, of course, evil stepmother and 2 stepsisters. She is an illegitimate child of Lord Penwood, who passed away a number of years
Mhm.
ago. And the current Lady Penwood, who's her stepmother, not her mother. I
No.
don't remember. I believe her mother may have died in childbirth, if I'm not
What?
mistaken.
Oh, okay, well, that's unclear from the
Or
show
when
so
she was
far.
young. I can't remember, honestly. I was even looking at the summary and I can't remember from the book,
Yeah.
which I did read, by the way, guys. It's just been a while.
Mhm.
Anyway, so that's it. She is there. She's allegedly his illegitimate daughter. And of course, so he kept her as a ward. And I believe, loved her, but obviously it wouldn't have been seen as societally acceptable for her to have been paraded around as his daughter.
Yeah.
So after Lord Penwood passes away, basically what happens in the book is that um, Lady Penwood, Araminta, which, like, she's going to be kind of an asshole if her name is Araminta.
And also, she's always dressed in black,
In
and it's
black.
always sparkly. She looks like a spider. She looks like a
She
Black
does.
Widow
Yeah,
spider.
I think they very purposefully
Yeah.
stylized her character that way. She's played by Katie Lung, who most people will know of from the Harry Potter
Okay.
franchise.
Yeah.
She looks stunning.
She does look stunning,
She looks
although
fab.
I keep looking at her and being like, I feel like she's too young to be playing, like, an evil stepmother.
I
Like, I
think
kind of feel like they did her dirty a little, you
I
know?
mean, kind of, but also I think the whole thing, right, would have been that, like, Lord Penwood took maybe a younger wife or something like that, right? Like, I think that's probably what the point's meant to be. But I do understand your point. I don't think there's a big difference in age between the 2 actresses playing the characters. So I'm like, damn, your stepmom's hot. Like, she looks really good.
And the 2, evil, I'm using quotation
Well,
marks
one of
here.
them's not.
No,
Posey's
one of
so
them,
cute.
Posey, is lovely. Are they her half sisters or are they stepsisters?
I think that they're stepsisters. I don't believe that they're his actual children. I
Okay.
think they may have been Lady Penwood's children from a previous marriage. Maybe her husband died or something.
Okay, because when I was rewatching it, when he introduces her to, like, his whole, like, his staff, and he introduces her to his ward.
Yeah.
I don't see the two, or were the two girls in the scene? They might have been in the scene again. I watched it twice and I didn't even notice. So
Yeah, no, okay, yeah, no, they are her stepsisters. She's not
okay,
related to them in any
okay,
capacity. So that's it. It's Rosamund and Posey, and Rosamund is Posey, I should say, sorry, is the only one who's like nice to her, and she's nice to her in the book as well. She's the
yeah,
only one who's kind to her in any capacity. So
she's lovely.
it's that version of Cinderella, but like the ever after version of Cinderella. You know, like one of the
Mhm.
sisters is nice.
Yeah.
Great movie. Anyway,
Side note.
I know,
Yeah.
good film.
Mhm.
Anyway, yeah. So that's kind of like the story that has been set basically, and so that's it. It's that very Cinderella type of thing. There's the masquerade ball at Bridgerton House is happening, and um Sophie, along with two of her friends who are on the set, they're so great. Her
I
guy friend, I
know.
loved him. I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
he's wonderful."
and
They help her steal one of, I believe it was her grandmother's dress or her mother's dress or something, and take some
yeah,
of Araminta's shoes and the gloves and wear them to the masquerade ball, which she does. And of course, that's where she meets Benedict, and they have like, you know, one of those like insta love kind of connection things that occurs. But obviously, she knows that she needs to be back before her stepmother and stepsisters get back. So she has to take off at midnight. And obviously, she wouldn't want to reveal herself because she wouldn't want to reveal her status.
correct.
Because a lot of this season, I think, is going to be and is fairly heavily focused on the idea of class.
It is, and it's really interesting. I'm getting more of a distinct like Downton Abbey feel from this season. I don't know if you are, and I think it's because in Downton Abbey, I like immediately thought of it in, I think it was the opening scene of this season when they're like preparing for the masquerade ball. They go downstairs and they're looking at, you know, the maids and the footmen and the valets,
Yeah.
and I'm like, they've never done that before. They've never actually kind of split screen and gone
Yeah.
downstairs. And so as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, hang on a second. Like, I think we're in for more of a Downton Abbey feel this season,
I
you
think,
know?
yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a Downton Abbey upstairs downstairs
Yes.
type of situation, right? That we're
Yeah.
getting, where you get a little bit of both, which isn't something that we've explored.
No, we haven't. And I actually really love it. Like, I love that they're exploring like the the nuances, the difficulties of the class and the status, and they really are going deep in it this season. Like they're showing it in the maid wars. So like you haven't got there
Oh,
yet, but
yes.
there's, you know, part of this, one of the episodes where Araminta then, because she fires Sophie.
Yes, because she figures out that she was at the masquerade ball, la di da di da, and she is like, "Get out of my house"
Get
and
out of
stuff.
my house.
In the book, by the way, the only reason that she has kept her on as a maid is because there's a stipulation in Lord
Aha.
Penwood's will that Lady Penwood will receive an additional amount of money if she keeps her until she's 20 or something.
Okay.
So that's why she, like, one because she wants the extra money, but two, also, of course, when she realizes that she was the girl that she saw at the masquerade ball, and she's the girl that Benedict has been searching for since then, because he had a glove with the Penwood logo
Mm,
embroidered in it.
mm.
Um, she boots her out of the house and fires her. And in the show, Posey gives her some shoe clips, like crystal shoe clips that
Yes.
she can sell. Actually, in the book, she steals them.
Oh, does she?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, good for her.
yeah, which,
But
fuck that, yeah.
yeah, where was I going with this? Yeah, like the whole maid wars that then ensue because like it shows that Sophie is so
I
capable
know.
and so good at what she does. Araminta then needs to hire 4 people to replace her, and so she goes and poaches them from other families.
Other
And
families.
and so then it's this domino effect
Yep.
of either the help, as they keep calling them, leaving the families,
Yep.
or Violet Bridgerton is worried that her, you know, maids are going to be enticed to leave her household. So it's this whole dynamic going on, and I think that the Featheringtons showcase
That's
this
a good, yeah, I agree.
this
That's a good
difficult
one.
line that there is, because like if I go back to a show like Downton Abbey, for example, where there's clearly this like familial tie between the family and the help.
Yeah.
And they show it a lot in the Bridgerton house as well. In the Featherington house, they're trying to construct this feeling through words and not through actions.
Yes.
And so she keeps saying to Varley,
Varley.
um,
I love Varley. I think
I
she's
love
so
Varley.
funny.
Yeah, she's funny, she's sneaky,
She
she's
is.
a little slippery and
Oh,
slimy.
yeah.
And she always has been, like, you've
Oh,
seen that
yeah.
side of her leading up to this. But I was heartbroken for Varley, like, when Lady Featherington, like, turns around and says, "Well, go then if you think you'll be happier somewhere else." And leading up to that, she kept telling her, "Oh, well, your family, we don't talk about money with
She
family."
yeah.
I was, like, seething for Varley, having watched all the seasons leading up
Yep.
to this and seeing what she's done for this family, and I think it was just so poignant to put that scene and that whole interaction in this season because it's really blowing up, a bit more of the underbelly of this whole, um, the society and what helps it
Yeah.
run and what keeps it going and looking so perfect. If you don't treat those who are caring for you properly,
Yeah.
it's all gonna fall apart, you
Yeah,
know?
and it's true. It is the perfect sort of juxtaposition between the Featheringtons and like what you see happen with Varley, with with Lady Featherington versus what you see happen, in Bridgerton House, where Violet's very concerned, of course, that
Yeah.
people are going to leave, and the minute she says anything to Mrs. Wilson, Mrs. Wilson's basically like, "Girl, don't
Don't
even
worry,
worry
I
about
got
it."
you.
And she's also like, "Everybody here is happy."
Mhm.
They like it here,
And
you know?
you even see it when Sophie and, Benedict are at my cottage.
Yes.
The
Oh, the
Crabtree,
Crabtrees, they're so funny.
they're so funny, but Mrs. Crabtree tells her it's important for one to not forget one's place
Yeah.
in society. And, when she said that, because my mom is from England, and she told me when she was little, her grandmother used to say to her all the time, "We must, respect the master. We must take care of like
Mm,
those above us. We must remember our place." It's a very, very old school way of thinking that bled through even like up until World War II
oh,
and,
yeah.
beyond, so it's a very British way of thinking,
Yeah. So it fits incredibly well,
It
obviously,
does.
and particularly to the mentality of those who work in service roles
Mhm.
in some capacity in this world, right? So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, no, it's really good to kind of see that, and it's cool too. You know what? We're finally like this season is giving us an opportunity to spend more time a little bit with characters like Mrs. Wilson, but the staff at
Mm.
Bridgerton House and stuff like John the footman, who we've seen multiple
Yeah.
times over the seasons. He's so funny.
Oh my
Um,
god.
and
He's
he's like
hilarious.
because
He's sassy.
he's always there trying to, like, cover up for the guys. He's like,
I
"Fuck's
know.
sake, alright, fine, Jesus Christ."
I know.
And he just, like, has to, like, do stuff to help them, and he's so, like, funny and cute, and he seems to have a little romance brewing with one of the other girl,
Hazel.
Hazel, who's been
Yeah.
hired on with Sophie at Bridgerton House.
I
So
know, it's so
the end of these
cute.
episodes, I was like, "Oh, this is so cute.
I
This
know.
is so cute." And, like, they're just, like, nice, and they're obviously fairly happy doing what they're doing, and they know
Yeah.
that, like, they're in a comfortable position. I mean, like, I think whatever the last episode or second to last episode is, I forget, when, Sophie is in her room and is,
Mhm.
like, dreaming of Benedict and, tries to relieve her own pressure to a degree there.
Ooh, that's a
Um,
way of saying
Ayo.
it.
We're watching it and Arthur's sitting there and he's like, "Oh my god, she has her own room? This
Yeah.
place is fancy." And I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true."
It's true, really, when you think about it, and she even expresses that to Benedict,
Oh, yeah.
she says, like, "This is the best place I've ever worked, stop messing it up for me,"
Yeah,
you know?
don't fuck it up, please, because like,
Yeah,
this is the best house I've ever
like,
worked
this is
for.
it, it's not gonna get better than this for me,
No,
you
no,
know?
this is one of the best families she could possibly work for,
Yeah.
so and she knows that. Yeah, so, I mean, like, that's it, I guess there's just, like, a lot of aspects of it, right? So we see that we see the whole thing, obviously, it progresses to the point where they have, a kiss at one point when they're kind of stranded in the
Yeah.
countryside for a bit at my cottage, and then after they get back to Mayfair and Violet hires Sophie, 1, because of the recommendation, obviously, from Benedict and him asking her to, but 2, she's very perceptive. And
Mhm.
we've said this multiple times when we've talked about previous seasons, but she's
Yeah.
very, very perceptive, particularly when it comes to things about her children.
But also, like, there's a scene where Violet invites, Sophie to have tea with her
I know, she's so
one-on-one, and she wants to ask her about herself and find out, like, how is it a maid, quote unquote, because she can tell, like, there's something going on here.
Yeah, because
You
she's
know,
also
like,
like, "Why do you speak, like, 3 languages? Why can you read Latin? Like, what's up with that?" You know? It's weird, like, "Why do
yeah,
you speak French so well? Her French is
yeah,
better than Benedict's." I laughed about that while we were watching it.
hilarious.
It was so
Yeah,
funny.
yeah. And she's, and I think, Violet understands that not everybody is very trusting, and so I think Sophie's not trusting, and Violet wants her to trust her, but she's just not there yet.
No, not quite anyway, and also, really, how would you reveal this? Be like, "Hey, so technically I was his kid, but I was, illegitimate. I was born out of wedlock." I don't remember in the book whether or not Lady Penwood lies about the whole, like, your mom was a maid thing. I don't recall if that's
Yeah.
true. Um,
Mm.
I'm wondering if we're gonna find out something different before the end of the season. I don't know. But
Oh,
yeah,
I'm sure we will. Like, this is definitely gonna go towards the happily ever after. Something happens in favor of Sophie, and, big spider lady is out on her ear.
Spider Lady. You're so funny. Yeah. So, I mean, so that's kind of like our main plot things. I guess, like, before we look at, like, kind of getting into final thoughts and stuff like that, what are your thoughts about some of, like, the side plots that are happening this season? So obviously we still have things happening with Francesca and
Mm.
John, who were married last season, and, like,
Yeah.
what they're dealing with. There's also a subplot happening at the moment between the Queen and Lady Danbury, as
Mm.
well as Alice Mondrich, who's now kind of been, like, brought into this, who's been there since the first season, but, like, who's now
Yeah.
kind of been brought into this with the idea of replacing like a lady in waiting for the
Yeah.
Queen, and giving Lady Danbury the opportunity to possibly take a step back from this whole situation for once. Like, so we're getting, like, little bits and bobs of different things like that. We still always get little side funny things from, like, Eloise,
Oh
obviously,
my god, she's my favorite.
she's a fan favorite. Arthur really liked her too. He thought she was really funny. I was like, yeah,
She
she
is
is.
funny.
She is funny. So yeah, so we're getting kind of like bits and bobs of that. But what are your thoughts on, like, all of those little subplots that are happening?
So, like, Francesca and John, um, they have always kind of been uninteresting to me, but I think that's done on purpose. I think we know what's going to happen with this. Like, it's been alluded to multiple times
I
throughout
won't
the.
I won't get into it too much, like, if you've
Yeah,
read the book, so just, and it's
yeah,
easy to find a spoiler online if you would like to, so if you really wanna know, you can go look it up, but if not, you can just let yourself kinda be
yeah.
surprised.
And I think, like, it's kind of obvious where this one's going, but I'm just, like, bored of it. Like, I'm like, I don't really care, like, about their relationship. Like, they're
Yeah.
like, he's fine, but,
Yeah.
and, like, but what I do like about Francesca is that she represents, like, a different personality that is not always portrayed in television.
Mm,
And I think that, our introvert buddies out there, they often get kind of swept to the side when it
yeah.
comes to, like, storylines and stuff, and we're not, calling out the fact that the world can be very noisy and very disturbing and difficult and heavy for people who are more introverted, and there's
Mhm.
an expectation, especially now, for everybody to have the loudest voice and be the loudest person and the biggest point being made all
Yeah,
the
have the
time, and, like,
loudest opinion. Yeah, that's it.
and it trickles through everything that we do. And so I really appreciate that we're trying to show, like, hey, sometimes people just want some peace and quiet, and that's where they feel happiest.
Yeah.
And maybe that doesn't resonate with other people, but, I think it's great to have that portrayal. But in this season, obviously you can see that they're having some struggles, and so that'll go where it needs to.
Mhm.
um the Queen and Lady Danbury is an interesting one because
Yeah.
I don't know. I can understand the Queen not wanting to lose her best
Her
friend,
only real friend, honestly, let's be
her
real.
only real friend,
Yes. I
and
mean,
especially
she has Brimsley, but it's not the same, you
it's
know?
not the same. Like, he officially works for her, and he always has to be, a couple of steps back from her. We saw it in Queen Charlotte,
Exactly.
their relationship. So I think that it's sad, but I also think that the Queen is inevitably going to come to the realization that you know, if you love someone, set them free and they'll come back to you, you know. So that's
Yeah.
probably what we're gearing up for there.
I do wonder if we're gearing up for maybe Lady Danbury to exit the show. I don't know, like, if that's the plan or not,
Mm.
or if it's just going to be that, like, between seasons, she will have the opportunity to travel and to go do what she wants to do. I don't know what'll
It could
happen with
be like
that.
a bit like we'll just kind of see her face here and there, you know, in the show, maybe,
Maybe.
but kind of like they did with Daphne in the first few seasons, where she would just kind of like pop in, and like same with Anthony, where he's like, "Hey," and "Bye," you know.
Yeah, that's it. And like now, like, like that's it. They had officially said that they were kind of like exiting and things like exiting. Same thing with Simon and Daphne and stuff like that. Daphne we saw a little bit post, but after that not as much. I wonder maybe if we're gonna get the same thing with Colin and Penelope to a degree at some point. I
Mm,
don't know. Like it's different for them. And especially for Penelope because she's Lady Whistledown and
yeah, she
we
can't not be
know
in the
that.
show. Oh
I mean,
yeah,
but she can be there from just, like, what she's publishing, and she can be mentioned and things maybe without playing as big of a role because Nicola Coughlan is booked, man, like, she's busy, she's got a lot of shit going on, so, like, I
yeah.
wonder.
Well,
w
she's also already in a lot less like scenes this
She is,
season. Like
of course.
she was in the first episode to kind of, I feel like, close the loop on the whole like whistle down scandal from
I
the
think
last
yeah, I
season.
think we've mostly seen her in, like, what, 2 of the episodes, kind
Yeah,
of between, like, the whistle down part of it, obviously working on that, combined with, her and Francesca kind of having, like, a camaraderie and being able to
yeah.
chat about things, and that also, again, I think has done a good job of opening the door for Eloise to feel like a bit of an outcast now.
Yeah, because she's not married, and so you can see that. I think actually, what is your thoughts on how they're showing like Eloise this season? Because that I find is an interesting, like, I don't know,
Yeah,
transition of
I
what they're
don't
doing.
I don't know if like I'm kind I in the second batch of episodes we maybe get a little bit more because I feel like we've not they were trying to establish with Benedict and Sophie that we've maybe not gotten too much into the season so far. What we have gotten, I guess that way has been interesting to see. And I guess the point will be to see if any of her attitude on anything changes
Mm,
before the end of the season. I don't know. Maybe it
yeah,
will. Because I mean, I do because I the dynamic of her synth and like what her trying to work with her and stuff like that and of course the difference between those characters where Hyacinth is very interested in pursuing things in a more traditional
yeah.
way whereas Eloise has absolutely no interest in doing any of that at all. She hates it, so it'll be maybe interesting to see how that kind of maybe develops or changes, or I wonder to a degree if Hyacinth's attitude will help Eloise kind of get more comfortable with the idea of things before the end of the season. I don't know. I'm not sure how they're going to do it.
Yeah,
Now I
because
want
they really are having a lot of Hyacinth in this season,
Mhm.
showing her like chomping at the bit, you
To
know, to
be
be
out.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, so I think we're gonna get maybe more of that as the seasons progress as well. Of course, as she gets older, as closer to that point in her life, so I'm sure that they'll do that as well, and they'll have more overlap like this. Now that they've done a few seasons where you can tell they weren't trying to do too much overlap, they started more, right? Like having Francesca come out in the last season and then get married, even though
Yeah,
it
that
was
was
technically
tough.
the focus was like Colin and Penelope. So I think that's why we're going to get a little bit more of this dynamic, sort
It
of, if
could
that makes
be.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think you're right. I think we might see a bit more of something about Eloise in the next episodes coming out, because probably the next season is supposed to be Eloise's season, but it depends how they do things,
it
you
depends
know?
how they do things with Francesca. It's going to be one of them.
Yeah.
Um,
It could be Gregory, eh? Don't forget, they keep mentioning
I
Gregory.
mean, they do, but I don't think that's happening right away. I'm pretty sure that the showrunner has confirmed that it's going to be one of them, but they've not
Okay.
confirmed which as of yet. So I guess we will see. My we would be Eloise, but I could be wrong. I don't
Mhm.
know. I mean, it would be good too to um it'll be good at least for these next couple of seasons if they do Eloise Francesca because we've had, of course, since all the oldest are the brothers, we've had the brothers most of the way other than Daphne. So
Mm.
this switches us to a sister in the family.
Yeah, I feel like the whole like Francesca getting married so quickly in the last season, it kind of, I was disappointed at how quickly they
Ah,
ran
okay.
through that. But then again, we know that that's not the be all and end all of her story. So I
Yeah.
guess I understand why they kind of quickly were like, "Yep, we just gotta get boot this out of the way so we can move on," you know?
Well, and now we'll get to see in the second batch of episodes because right at the end of the fourth episode, right, Michaela, John's
Hmm.
cousin, comes back to London. So we'll kind of get to see how that dynamic starts to take shape, because we only got the briefest of glances at it at the end of last season. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, they do mention it when they come back in the summer, how they were spending the time in the house with Michaela and stuff, and she kind of she has a look.
Oh yeah, very much.
Mhm.
But again, it kind of makes sense, right? Because we've seen it explored by other characters, including Ben himself in previous seasons, right? Like he is a queer character, but
Yeah.
we've seen things, explored, but someone who's as introverted as Francesca, and particularly for a young woman in this time period, the opportunity or idea of even understanding what your sexuality is would not have been a thing.
No.
So this
Oh,
must be
but they're
such a
doing a
weird.
really yeah, they're doing a really good, sorry for interrupting you.
No,
They're
no,
doing
that's
a
okay.
really good
Okay.
a good job of showing that
Mhm.
this season with Francesca. So to
Yeah,
your point, her exploring her sexuality, she is like 0 this one.
I know. Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see maybe in the next few episodes how that shakes out as well for the end of the season. I'm curious to see, and I'm curious if this will give us a very clear picture of season 5. I don't know.
Mhm.
We shall
Mhm.
see.
Yeah. I
Um,
just I'm just like here for all of it. I'm
it's
like,
fun.
"Yep, just keep giving it to me."
It's just fun. I think everybody gets like so overly invested in it, and it's cool. Like if you're not enjoying it or whatever, if you liked previous seasons better, there's like certain things that you did or don't enjoy about like the characters or like the cast, whatever the chemistry between them, whatever the case may be, the storylines you don't like as much. That's fine. I don't really like that's valid. Obviously, you can like whatever you like or not like what you don't, but at the same time, I just feel like people, when shows get very popular, people get so opinionated about
Oh.
everything remaining just as it was in previous seasons. And I'm like, all these people are playing different characters and the storylines are going to be different. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway,
Well, I mean, also, if they just kept doing the same thing over and over
then
again.
you'd be complaining that it's boring. So, I
Right,
mean, pick a
like,
lane.
I mean, in some ways, I don't disagree that it would've been fun to keep Lady Whistledown, like, a secret a little bit
Yeah.
longer.
I was
Um
I was surprised by that last season. I was like,
Yeah,
"Whoa, really?" Because
yeah,
in the book, for people who are not aware, but in Penn and Colin's book, Colin, it becomes aware that Penelope is Lady Whistledown. No one else does.
yeah, so, like,
I don't
I
think
was
it's ever revealed in any of the books that she is Lady Whistledown.
yeah, like, I found that a little disappointing, personally. Like, that was the one criticism that I have of this show, is that, like, I get it, like, Colin had, like, a vendetta against Whistledown, and they had to, like, iron that whole thing out
Yeah, but she didn't
because
have to come out publicly for that to be a
agreed,
thing. I
like
guess he finds out, like I said, he finds out, and it's like he's not happy about it in the book either. But you're like, okay, they
well,
could have done that and then,
they could've. I enjoyed the cat and mouse game between Whistledown and the Queen. Like, I
Me
thought the
too.
Queen was hilarious when she
She's
was
so
doing that.
funny. Yeah, she's so funny.
Yeah.
But the only thing that I will say is that I guess what has been good, I guess the good thing or the more interesting, I suppose, aspect of what's come out of the reveal of Whistledown and everything that's come since then. But what's good about that is that it's added an interesting layer to Queen Charlotte's storyline this season, and maybe why she's also clinging on to Lady Danbury and the
Yeah,
idea of nothing else changing so hard, because it's like she had something to work for before,
yeah,
and now she knows everything and everything's boring again. And
yeah,
she realizes that if if nothing interesting's happening because now we know who Lady Whistledown is, then that's boring. And then if my best friend leaves and then the love of my fucking life, who barely remembers me half the time, dies,
yeah.
I will be alone.
Yeah, and I think that you just said really sums up the Queen. You have to, like, if you've watched Queen Charlotte that season, this is not a woman who is without purpose. She's not a woman
No,
who doesn't have a brain. She's, not just like some little, like, human version of a handkerchief, basically, like
no.
floating in the wind. She is strong-willed, she's smart, she's scrappy, she's sneaky, but she's in this position where she must be the queen, and she has certain things that she has to do which prevents
Yeah,
her from doing the things that she might want to do. And so
exactly.
there could be an element with Danbury where when Danbury has this whole like speech where she says, I want to go back to my homeland, which side note, she says she hasn't been since she was 4. I'm like, girl, what are you gonna do over there? Do you know anybody? Anyway,
She might have relatives or something. We don't
she might have
know.
family. I think it's
Yeah.
a family thing, because I think Danbury, like what you just described, the queen feeling, I think Danbury's feeling it as well. She feels lonely. She wants to go back to her roots.
Yes,
And if you
because she
watch
was shipped off as a child for a husband
a
who was a
horrible man,
gross old man.
horrible man. And
When
so like,
she was an infant, essentially, when she was a
yeah,
toddler, she was decided to be married to this gross older guy. Like,
correct.
ugh.
Correct. And they say that in Queen Charlotte. And so probably the queen has a certain element of wanting to return to her own home,
Which
because
she's also never done.
which
So,
she's never been able to do, but
yeah,
because she's the queen, she has no choice. So I have a feeling that part of the queen is like, bitch, if
she's
I'm stuck
jealous.
here, you're stuck here.
Yeah, no,
Like,
she's jealous for sure that
for
there's an
sure.
element of that for her that's just like, no, if I have to deal with this bullshit, then you do too. So I need someone to suffer with me here.
That's exactly it, you see it so clearly in the scene where the queen says to Lady Danbury, like, what shall we do today? I have, a rope dancer, or a this
Whatever.
or a that. And Danbury's like, whatever
Whatever
amuses
you
you
want.
most. And it's like all 3 options are shite. You
Yes.
like nothing is fun.
Nothing's fun or interesting anymore.
No.
That's it. There's like a
And
sense of fatigue.
and I
And maybe,
think that's
and
what
to a
they're
degree,
building up to.
that's it. And maybe that's part of the criticism for this season. Maybe people are feeling fatigue for the show. I get it. Whatever. We're 4 seasons in. These types of things can happen. If you don't like it, you don't. And if you do, cool.
Yeah,
That's pretty much what it is.
I think with a show like this, it's important to have a bit of patience too, because
Yeah.
like you have to allow the story to come together the way it needs to come together.
Agreed. And maybe that's part of the problem is these fucking split drops of episodes and shit like that. That's a Netflix problem. So
Oh man, just give us the fucking
I
episodes.
know. I'm
Like
a bit
I would
over it now.
almost prefer that they release one a week
Yeah.
than to do like, here's 4 and now you got to wait 25 days until the next one.
I know. I'm in agreement. It's just stupid. Anyway, whatever. That's kind of our feelings about it, I think, overall. Hopefully that's it. If you're here, hopefully you guys are like enjoying the season. Maybe you have theories or things too, especially if you've not read the book. Maybe you have theories about where things are going to go. If you have read the book, maybe you have a theory about how certain things will change. Now, the last thing I will mention is that obviously everybody collectively is aware of how fucking stupid Benedict was to ask Sophie to be his mistress. We
Oh
all know it.
my god. Yeah, we didn't even talk about that.
So I knew that this was
All
gonna
the reactions of everybody.
I knew that this was gonna happen, and I was like,
I didn't. I was like, when he said, like, you deserve more, I'm like, yes, she deserves more. And he's like, will you be my mistress? I'm like, oh, you did not just do that, you
yeah.
jackass.
And they alluded to it earlier because like he had a friend there who had
Yeah.
like who has taken a mistress, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, oh fuck, we are doing this. Okay. Because it's what happens in the book as well. And I was like, "Yee."
Yeah.
But yes, obviously she does refuse to do so. No one's
I mean, she
surprised
doesn't
about
even
that.
say it. She just kind of walks off,
I
doesn't
can't even,
she?
she was just in shock. I mean,
Yeah.
if you just,
Yeah.
had an
Well,
orgasm and then was immediately asked afterwards to be
poor woman,
someone's
right?
mistress,
Like,
you'd be like, I'm shell shocked right now. I need to leave the room.
poor woman. It's like, her whole status in society is either she chooses to be a maid or she chooses to be this guy's mistress, and he's
It's
just going to
crazy.
throw her aside the minute that he gets married.
That's the thing. Or that, like, she gets to be his dirty little secret forever. Oh,
Ugh,
great. What a way
great.
to live your life,
Yeah, so happy.
Anyway, and we've seen
Yeah,
this in previous seasons too, like with Antony and stuff like that at the beginning of the series as well.
that's right.
Yeah. So
That's
anyway,
right. Yeah.
yeah, that's it. So anyway, so it's been like kind of interesting to see it. That's it. I'm really curious to see maybe if they'll shift certain things in the latter half of the season. It fairly closely follows the book right now, so I'm curious to see like if they do any kind of shifting that way of like the main plot line and what that'll look like.
Hmm.
But otherwise, yeah, no, I'm enjoying that. I've mentioned previously, I found like not in the book necessarily, but like in the show, Benedict is one of my favorite characters. I think Luke Thompson is adorable.
It's because he looks like Arthur.
But he's so like charmingly befuddled half the time and so very
Yeah, that
genuine
doesn't work for me though. I'm
and
just like,
and
ugh.
so very I don't know what it is. There's something about I think in previous seasons in particular how he's like when his brothers have been dumb, how he's spoken about like being in love and like what that's like and what it should be like and how you should be like feeling about things. I'm just like, oh, he's such an artist. He's so sweet.
Yeah, you can tell that he's like, of all the boys, like you can tell that he's Violet's sweet boy.
Yeah, and he's definitely the most like sensitive, I guess, in that capacity, or maybe you would think it's weird because it almost doesn't make sense for him to ask for the mistress thing because you're like, you're supposed to be more emotionally mature than this, my guy.
Well, I think that's why it caught me off guard
I
so
know.
much because he has such a strong relationship with Eloise and stuff too that like, I almost feel like he should be asking himself, what would Eloise say if I said this out
She'd
loud?
punch you in the face is what she would say.
She
She'd be like, you're an idiot.
would like punch you in the balls. Like she'd be
Hopefully
like,
I'm hoping we'll get a scene of that maybe
oh
at some
yeah,
point that she'll be like, what the hell's the matter with you? Obviously.
totally.
Stupid. Anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah. So anyway, whatever. We've been at this for a while, but
Yeah.
we'll wrap it up.
We keep almost finishing our episode and then being like, oh wait, but one more thing.
I had another thought. Yeah. Anyway, obviously when the second half of the season drops, we will be watching it as soon as we can and then coming at you with those episodes as well so that we can kind of wrap that up. And then hopefully we can talk about all the rest of it, the end of the book versus the show. And maybe, like we said, get some clear picture or a clear idea of what we're doing with season 5, I should say, and who the focus will be and who will be focusing on yeah. And we can talk about a couple of things too, because there are like a couple of, I find from the books anyway, little interesting tidbits that maybe I can like slip in a bit without giving away too much to see like what could potentially happen in future seasons. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, as usual, obviously, you can follow us on all of our social media. We're at Fully Booked CA everywhere. You can check out the website at fullybooked.ca. We have a lot of regular recommendations, reviews for upcoming books, and all kinds of stuff that are being published over there. So check that out. But in the meantime, guys, keep on reading.
Thanks, everyone.